I'm Meg, and this is my 1985 GMC Fire Command van. This is Marv, and today we're going to take you on a tour of my van. This is our little house, and me and my daughter live in it full time, and we've been on the road for just over a year now. And this is our kitchen area. Here are two cats. I live on the road with an 11-year-old, two cats, and a dog in 126 square feet. So it's a bit, I mean, it works for us. It's cozy in here, and we love it. So the van, when I bought it, we're pretty sure was used as a utility vehicle for the Montreal Fire Department. It was really rough inside. There was just like oil everywhere, and shelves, and big generators, and massive electrical panels, and it was really, really rough inside. The body itself is made up of a layer of fiberglass, and then a layer of 1-inch layer of blown insulation, and then another layer of fiberglass. So the van already had like a 1-inch R value, which was pretty sweet. And I strapped the van and added like with two by 2s, and then did another 2 inches of spray foam insulation. So it's really well insulated. And then that allowed me obviously to like put walls in so that I could put finishings on it and trim. My dad helped me actually trim the windows just recently when we were back in Ontario for the summer, and I'm totally in love with them. It made such a huge difference having these finished. The countertops are hemlock. My dad has a mill, and he cut them for me and then helped me finish the edges, and I sanded and lacquered them with a food grade, so like I can put heat right on these and it doesn't stain it or anything. And I've had them on here for a year now, and I'd say that they're still in like pretty decent condition considering. We were on the road for a while and realized that there were certain things that I thought that I needed that I didn't necessarily need. One of those things was a larger living space for Molly. So since being back in Ontario, we've actually made her a bedroom area, and then put my bedroom up on top, which is pretty funny. I'll show you how I get up in there sometime today. But yeah, so this is our kitchen area. Currently, we are living a still life, if you will. We've stopped traveling and we're living full-time in British Columbia, and living full-time in BC has allowed us to have full-time hookups. So I have changed some of the appliances that I'm using as far as like kitchen stuff goes. So I ordered this baby, and I had to get induction pots as well, and so that's how the extension cord just kind of goes across, and we'll cook and stuff on our induction cooktop. So when I did the build, I did the physical build completely myself, but the stuff that I didn't have education on, so like things like plumbing and electrical, I did have friends of mine help me out. They've got a company called Ray Outfitted. They're on Instagram as Ray Outfitted or VNM Vanlife. Ray is awesome. He helped me with my solar system, and then also helped me with my plumbing as well. The solar system was a huge thing for me because it really intimidated me working with electrics, and I heard horror stories about people like setting fire to their rigs because they'd wired things incorrectly. But this is our plumbing situation under here, which is like pretty standard like plumbing setup, like the way that a lot of people I think are doing it on the road was with camping jugs. So I have like a backup 5-gallon jug, and then this is a freshwater one as well, and then that's my gray water. So when the gray water fills up, I obviously just empty it out. And then this is just all my cleaning supplies, things like that. When I went back to Ontario this summer, I raised this cupboard. It used to all be one level, and now I have this kind of like caddy that I can keep things in for when we're driving. I don't have to worry about moving it. And these baskets actually fit perfectly under the cupboard. Stashed those under there, and it gave us a little bit more storage. He's so curious. This is gonna be hilarious. This is my closet. And this is it on a good day. So these are my clothes all stuffed into one tiny cupboard. This is literally all the clothes that I own. I used to be a girl of many fashion trends. Now I am very minimalistic with my wardrobe. I had a massive walk-in closet at my old place. I had to get rid of a lot of clothes. This is our everything cupboard. So bathroom stuff, just random odds and ends. Baby wipes for when you need to take that baby wipe bath. We have access to a shower where we're parked long term now, so that's awesome, but when we were on the road, obviously everyone knows baby wipes are your best friend. And then this is our little kind of bathroom cupboard. In here, makeup, just things like that we use on a pretty regular basis. Molly helped me do all the palettes in here that are on the ceiling. So I had 20 palettes for $40. They were all brand new. None of them were like water damaged, and I took them all apart, and then Molly helped me sand and paint all of them. And then when I installed them, I just staggered them so that they kind of looked odd and even, and it turned out really good for $40. Like, you can't complain. This thing is just an insulator board that Molly and my grandma actually made. And I squeeze it up there where the skylight is, which looks really beautiful when it's raining. It's like my favorite when it's raining. I have a little toilet paper here, and then we just have a camper potty. Here's my dirty laundry, because everyone needs to see that. This is like real. There's lots of people who are like composting toilets or everyone's got like a totally different toilet situation that they're using. We've been using this for over a year, and it works for us. It's the same toilet we've had for a year. I clean it. It's, it's just functioning. We don't go number 2 in it. We only use it for pee breaks. So, or through the night or whatever. This is Molly's room. So she's got it super cozy in there. She loves her space. She's got photos of her friends in here. Typical like 11-year-old girl stuff everywhere. This was a big thing for her because if you look back like previously on our Instagram and stuff, I used to have her bed suspended above mine, and it was a really small space. She just didn't feel like she had a space to go to, and she's 11 years old, so especially like the older she gets, obviously the more that she wants that den of her own. The first thing that I did when we went back to Ontario was build the bed out for her, and she loves it. It's made like night and day difference. The fact that she has this kind of little inside space, she can close her curtain, she sleeps till like 9 o'clock if I let her. Yeah, it's been really good. And then her clothes I've just kept under here in a little pull-out bin. And yeah, like her wardrobes, I would say, is just as minimalistic as mine. This is the solar system I was talking about. So currently, my battery is actually hooked up to a little trickle charger that I've got plugged into the regular outlet that the van is hooked up to, and I'm actually charging my solar battery right now because of how great it is, and I'm probably going to be doing that all winter. I've accepted that. This is my tiny little office stuff space, so I've got like books here that we have, and just like random notes and stuff. My laptop, and then we've got like spices that we use pretty regularly, Marv's Treats. This is our little kitchen cupboard. I keep like random produce and stuff up there. It took me like 8 months of living on the road to accept the fact that I could have regular glass dishes, glassware. This cupboard never opens when we drive. It hasn't. We've been on some pretty rough roads, and everything has been fine. They're all still intact. It's been 5 months. And then this one is just random Tupperware, more snacks and food and things like that. Like there's about a 2-foot garage space in the back of the van, and the cats go through the cat door and use the litter box back there. That was a huge thing for me. I had been to like in a couple other vehicles where the cat's litter box was kind of in the person's living space, and I found that was like something that was really hard to keep the odor down, especially when you're driving. The litter's moving around so much and stuff like that. And it's also kind of nice for the cats because they get to go to their own private area to use the litter as well. So that was a really good idea. And the garage just in general, like there's so much stuff that you don't use every day that you don't want in your living space with you. So just putting the garage in was a really great idea. So we used to have a wood stove in here, and then I removed the wood stove because I found I was carrying around a ton of weight, and it was just really affecting my fuel mileage. Also, there's a lot of different states that have laws about bringing wood from other states or provinces in, crossing the border with wood, so I'd have to like ditch my wood. So we were often sun chasing. It wasn't a huge issue that I ran into until now. We've decided to like stay somewhere long term, and we're from Canada, so winter is coming. Currently I just have the dehumidifier lets off quite a bit of heat. I haven't had to even start a heater yet in here, but I just have like a little sunbeam heater, and I'm gonna see how that goes. This is our fridge as well. The fridge is a solar fridge. It's done me pretty well. I've had it for a year now and it works really well. And the benches here offer like a ton of extra storage, which is great. And then we actually have a sheet of plywood in the garage in the back that when we have company, or sometimes like even Molly hurt her ankle, so I set up the plywood across here and then turned the cushions go down into like a little bed couch area, and it was great for her because she didn't have to like go all the way back and climb into her room. She just hung out here for a few days while her ankle was in really bad shape, or if we have a guest or she wants to have a friend stay over. Kids often think that this house is pretty cool because it's like kind of like a tiny cabin. So, and then you show them that you can make a bed for them and they're like mind blown, and the girls will be like having a good time watching movies sitting here. It's really cute. So, and I just get to like hang out in here and watch them. It's really adorable. Yeah, so this is the front end of the van, the captain's chair. Like I said, I'm kind of sitting still for a while, so there's tons of stuff on the dash, but I often honestly have a lot of stuff up here anyways. I love little knickknacks and treasures that we kind of collect on the road. So the van itself has got a 350 small block Chevy engine in it, and it's been really, really reliable. I don't get the best fuel efficiency in places like BC because there's a lot of uphill downhill. But yeah, I can get anywhere from like 350 to 450 kilometers out of a tank of gas, which isn't terrible. If I'm going uphill, it's all over the place, so it's like really hard to calculate even what I'm getting. Up here, if you can get up there, I installed this shelf last summer too, which has been awesome. We've been keeping all of our like hats and mittens and stuff up there. Obviously just when we're parked it makes sense because there's no like ledge or anything. One day actually we were driving and I had left a ton of stuff up there, and I hit the brakes and everything just crashed down on my head. Molly was like, ah! But like I think if you live on the road, we've all been there. Other than that, I think, you know, that's our house. It's everything that we need in one little bite-sized package. So I decided to live in this van because I was working a job that I was really unhappy in. I was working like doing the 9-to-5 office grind, kind of conforming to what I thought you had to do when you had a child, especially as a single mother. I was like just trying to make ends meet, and I was becoming really, really unhappy, and it was getting to a point where Molly was actually, like, I would come home from work and she would be like, Mom, you're so unhappy, you should quit your job. Like my kid at the age of like 7 and 8 years old was telling me that I should quit my job. And I was like, well, you know, it doesn't really work like that, honey. Like bills have to be paid and stuff like that. And I'd met like some people that were kind of living more, they didn't have children, but they were living like really adventurous lifestyles. And I was just like, oh, I just want to do that. Like I want to travel, I want to go places and do things. And I was always questioning, like, you know, can I do this with a kid? Can I do this with a kid? And actually Instagram opened up my eyes because I saw a lot of people on there that were solo female travelers or couples with kids that were doing it, and I was like, you know what, like I've done everything on my own up until this point. There's really no reason that I should only be able to live on the road with my child if I'm in a relationship. And so I just did it. I, over the course of 3 years, started a small soap company, and I put all of the soap money away, and I slowly sold all of the stuff that I owned to put money away, and I saved just under $15,000 over the course of 3 years to be able to build out the van. And I built it out over the course of about 4 to 5 months, and we hit the road. And I've honestly been probably I am the happiest I've ever been since hitting the road and living small this way. My life is just so much more fulfilled. So it was really I did it for a lot of different reasons, but I think my main reason was that I knew I was unhappy, and I felt like there was more to life. And now I've kind of seen that and know that good thing I was right. Otherwise I would have just like built out a van and been like, oh shoot. I work for a company in Toronto. A friend of mine actually is an arborist, and I work as his office administrator, so I do all of his calendar bookings, and occasionally I do estimates, invoices, things like that. So I do my job from the road on my phone and my laptop. I'm also working at a restaurant here in town, just a few shifts a week during the day while Molly's in school, just to make a little extra cash. And I am going to be taking care of a guest house pretty soon, which will be also a part-time, semi-part-time, semi-full-time gig that will give us parking for the month. So I'll be able to save a lot of money. So pretty soon I'm going to be working 3 jobs, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm stoked about it. I'm happy at all 3 of them. So I think that a few benefits of this lifestyle are community is a huge one. So I've made and met more people and made like really good friendships over the last year of my life than I probably have in the last 10 years. Actually, when I had my daughter, I got pregnant quite young. I was 19 when I had Molly, and I lost a lot of my friends because I didn't have anything in common with them anymore, you know, like I was raising a baby and they were all off doing the college thing. Now I have this like family of people that I know on the road, which is amazing, like people that I can, you know, talk to, make phone calls to. Like I've got a really close girlfriend I met on the road named Jessie, and me and her talk on like a bi-weekly basis for like 2 to 3 hours plus sometimes on the phone. And also I think it makes you, this lifestyle makes you appreciate what Molly and I like to call the little big things. So things like washing your dishes in hot water versus cold, and you know, things like not showering for several days, and then the appreciation of that, being able to have that shower you've been longing to have. Yeah, there's a lot of the little big things that kind of pop up along the way. Some of the challenges I would say are, like, the road definitely tests you. There's a lot of things that you have to do just to even get up to this point. So like building out the van was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. You know, like blood, sweat, and tears went into this van, quite literally. And I think it was really good though for Molly to be exposed to that, for her to like see her mom do all of these things on her own, and then also her family support her. Like my parents supported us living this lifestyle, which is a huge thing. Like they, you know, were behind me 100% and weren't negative about it or putting me down about it. They believed in our dreams, and that was a huge thing. My grandparents as well, my sister and my brother-in-law, like having their support was big. But I think the biggest challenge was just building the van and like finally hitting the road, not being afraid to get out there and, you know, be on the road on my own as a solo single mom. Breakdowns are a thing. Your vehicle's gonna break down. Also, you're taking all of the things that you would regularly have in a house that doesn't move, and you're putting it into something that moves and vibrates and shakes. Some of the like parking areas that you're going to travel to that are like off grid are some of the roughest roads you'll have ever been on in your life, and they quite literally shake your whole home. And so, you know, like my plumbing, I had to fix all of my plumbing twice in the last year. Thankfully, my friend who helped me install it educated me while I was doing it, so I was able to fix it on my own, which is why I asked for his assistance in the first place. I didn't want to be that damsel in distress. I didn't want to be the girl that needed somebody else's help. I just wanted to be able to do it myself. I've always been that way. The fear that I had about wanting to hit the road was, or even just go forward with buying the van and building it out, there was a lot of judgment, not from my family, like I say, but from other people. Like when I would talk about wanting to do it, I mean, you as a woman in particular say, I'm going to live on the road with my 10-year-old daughter. there's a lot of judgment there. People are going to be like, oh, this girl's crazy. Like, oh, that's so dangerous. Or there's also the judgment of, like, are you living in your van because you want to, or are you living in a van because you have to? You know, there's a really fine line there, and there's a border, and both. One of those subjects is a sensitive one. So you have to be kind of careful with that. But I think I got to a point where I had wanted something for so long, and I just wanted to be happy for so long, that nothing could have got in my way. And that was a big thing for me, because most of my life I was one of those people that hesitated and that would think I was super into something, and, you know, like, I'd try every sport under the sun and see if I got into it, and then I'd give up on it. Or, you know, I'd, like, want to take a new course and give up on it. I never found anything that I really, really wanted. And for this, I wanted it. I wanted it so bad, and so taking that leap was easier for me because of how badly I wanted it. You know, I was flipping through, like I said, I was flipping through Instagram. I think it's important to, like, touch base on the fact that it wasn't the accounts that are all dreamy. I was following my now friend Jessie, and she was posting, like, herself nitty-gritty doing her own mechanics and building out her vehicle and stuff like that, and that kind of kept me motivated to be like, I could do this myself. I could do this. You know, other people are doing it. Advice that I would give to someone would be that it can be really difficult, so don't give up on yourself. That if you want something bad enough, you kind of have to just, like, be your own hero. I tell Molly this all the time. Like, don't ever expect anybody else to rescue you. If you want something, you kind of got to save yourself and get yourself to that point. But it's going to come with a lot of challenges. You're going to take yourself so far out of your comfort zone that you'll feel like giving up on a regular basis. I think it's important to spark community for that reason, because it's going to be those people that are going to keep you motivated and keep you moving forward. Having somebody there to be like, don't give up, is really, really important. Everybody's so different. If we were all the same, the world would be really, really boring. And I've met people from all different, like, walks of life living this lifestyle. Last winter, we got to have this really cool experience where we went down to the RTR. We met thousands of nomads in the middle of the desert, and it was so cool. But the one thing that you do notice is that everybody's kind of out there, and they want that same, you know, adventure dream. They're, like, adventurous, and they love being outside, and they're outdoorsy, and they want to see the world, and that's so cool. So they have that similarity, but everyone's still so different. And it's so cool because it's that similarity that, like, brings everybody together. Because I know I've had other single moms that have reached out to me about living on the road with their kids, and actually some single dads too. It's not just single moms that want to do this as well alone. But it's definitely a transition. We did it really slowly. So, like, when I was saving over the course of 3 years, I was also downsizing over the course of 3 years. So we went from a house, I sold my house, to a 2-bedroom apartment, to a 1-bedroom apartment, to a bachelor apartment, to a bunkie over the course of 3 years. And every time we moved, that allowed us to get rid of more stuff and get rid of more stuff and get rid of more stuff. And I didn't really talk about the fact that we were going to be living this lifestyle with Molly when we were downsizing. I just explained to her, you know, that about minimalism and how when you have a little bit less, you appreciate what you have more and things like that. And she was really accepting towards that, and I think because I didn't just force her to get rid of all of her stuff really fast. I took it slow, and, you know, because those are her things, and as a kid, you treasure the things that you have. And it just worked out well to tiptoe into it rather than just be like, we have to get rid of 90% of what you own. You know, all your toys, everything. Like, how harsh is that to do to anyone, let alone a child that doesn't understand? But Molly, I think that this lifestyle, doing this, has really shaped her into the person that she's going to become. She's very eco-conscious. She has become much less of a child that wants to buy everything. She thinks more about what she buys before she buys it, which is really great. We talk often about, like, wants and needs. how much will fit into your space. She's gotten to a point where one time she was kind of accumulating some things that we got on the road, and one morning I woke up and she was just like throwing stuff into a box and was just like, I'm gonna donate these, I don't need it, it's taking up too much space. So she's gotten the peanut gallery. Down you go, darling. There you go. Yeah, she's definitely gotten kind of better with those things. There's a lot of different aspects in living with kids on the road. Kids who don't have another child is a thing. So she doesn't have any siblings on the road with us. And so that makes for, when you're just with your mom all the time, kind of a lonely road. And that's why I think she expressed to me, and I'm proud of her for expressing to me that she wanted to go back to school. Because there were a lot of times when we were on the road where she wasn't with other children. And that was hard for both of us because she was bored and, I was constantly entertaining, and, that can be really exhausting. When kids are in school each day, mom and dad have the time to go to work, and the kids have their time with their friends, and then they get together and they appreciate those times that they have together. Living on the road changes that, not necessarily all for the bad. It also connected us on so many other levels, but there's definitely like a transition for kids who are by themselves. It can be lonely. Much like it is for an adult. Like, I know people who are living on the road that are solo travelers, and they get lonely, Also, she's 11, so she's getting to that age where she's going through, like, the, where's my voice? How do I find my place? And, she's pushing buttons, and she's testing me, and, like, we all did. And when you're in a small space, that you don't necessarily have that place to go to, like, get away when you just need to, like, she'll lash out, or she's gonna go to her little den, and that's fine. That's been so much better, because before she didn't have that place to go, or one of us will take a walk, I'll take a walk, whatever. It makes you so closely bonded, because you're literally living in 126 square feet. You're beside each other together, cooking meals together all the time. So you do need that time away from each other. And I respected that Molly expressed that to me. I was happy that she did. There's some people who are living on the road with, like, a husband and wife and 3 or 4 children in school bus conversions and stuff. Like, everybody's experience is totally different. But for, like, a single mom with 1 child at my daughter's age, I would recommend just, like, making sure that you respect what they need. Because at the end of the day, like, you want your kids to be happy, and you don't want them to resent you for this lifestyle. And I've done everything I can to make sure that she's happy in this lifestyle. And that included moving across the country to accommodate her going back to school. You gotta do what you gotta do to make your kids happy. One thing that I've noticed in my life is that you have to, it's okay, like, yeah, it's amazing to make other people happy, but you have to make yourself happy too. In order to make other people happy, you have to be happy. So, you're doing the world a lot of good if you make shifts and changes and take yourself out of your comfort zone to get to your happy place. And so I guess I'm just, like, always seeking my happy place. That's kind of how I live my life. Molly and I are about to go into a transition that I'm going to announce to the world, where we're actually going to be taking care of a guest house for accommodations. So I'll be able to, like, put away my paycheck so that I can, actually be able to save money. Like, for the first time in my life, save, like, a large amount of money, which is really exciting to me, because one thing I know as a single parent, and I'm sure that there are other single parents out there that probably feel this way too, is it's really hard to get ahead. It's really hard to save on one income. And when Molly's 18 and she decides she wants to go out and live her best life solo from me, which will be a sad day in my books, but I'll be celebratory for her. What will I have to show for myself? Like, what will I have saved? Will I want to be able to, like, will I ever be able to afford a piece of property? Will I ever, because I was like living paycheck to paycheck, and this lifestyle actually has allowed me to pay off my debt and save money for the first time in forever. So that's a huge thing for me. Like I say, I started living this lifestyle for a lot of different reasons. There are a ton. One of them is financial. You can find me on Instagram at the Step Van Diary. The Step Van Diary.
Hi everyone, hope you enjoyed this episode in the Alternative Dwelling series. If you wanted to see more, a playlist is popping up right now where you can watch every episode we've ever made. Don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button, and check out the links in the description if you want to support this channel and this show. And we'll see you next Monday for another episode of Alternative Dwellings.